On today's show, we've got an amazing guest who's going to walk through the process of a trick you can use to expand the inventory for your homes. I know a lot of people out there searching right now are in low inventory markets, not finding what you need easily for your buyers. Well, we've got a strategy that can help you get a lot more homes that meet your buyer's criteria. So stay tuned for this episode of the Hyperfast Agent Show with Steven Papageorge. Welcome to the show. How are you doing today, Steve?
I'm good, doing well. How are you doing, Dan?
Great. How's the market go? You know, you're Northern Virginia area, right?
Yeah, so we're predominantly Northern Virginia. I mean, bulk of our work is Arlington, Alexandria. We do some work in DC and have Maryland license as well. No, things are going well, staying busy. So.
Yeah, I know a lot of markets are really, really busy. For agents, builders, contractors, I'm sure you're experiencing that. Before we jump into specifically how an agent can use a contractor such as yourself to increase the amount of inventory for their clients, why don't you give folks a little bit about your background?
Sure. So I was born and raised in Northern Virginia, grew up in Annandale. Went to Falls Church High School and then Catholic University over in DC. And I've been, started Design Pro with my brother and two other friends about 11 years ago. And, we're essentially a general contractor, again, serving Northern Virginia, Maryland, DC.
So over a decade now, how many projects would you say you've done?
Thousands of projects, yeah. Done a lot.
And what's the general range in size?
So, it can range from, a complete pop-top addition where we're going up a level with a, full interior renovation, where they're in at, $300,000-400 grand, all the way down to, inspection items, the smaller spectrum there, so. The bulk of our work is kitchens, bathrooms, basements, preparing homes for the market, kind of complete interior renovations and additions. So.
And what today, or let's kind of today, maybe going back to March, what has been the bulk of your work? Have you seen a shift in the type of work you're doing with the lockdowns and all that, all that stuff?
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Since the lockdowns happened, there was a little bit of a lull right when things kind of set in, when people were unsure what was going on, and then kind of after a couple weeks passed, things have just kind of skyrocketed, and it's been pretty crazy. But definitely have noticed a change, and a lot of people are asking for kind of home offices, built-ins, that kind of thing, as well as a lot of exterior living spaces. So decks, front porches, screened-in decks. So I've been seeing a lot of that outdoor living space, projects.
Yeah, if you're like a typical two parents working, two kids, family, all of a sudden you went to where like a 4-bedroom house was fine, and then now you could have both people working at home, so they need a separate space. Kids homeschooled, so they are virtual learning at home, so they need separate spaces. So playgrounds shut down, so they need more stuff outside. So what are you doing to, for people that need these houses built in Arlington? Some of them were 50, 60 years old. Like, they weren't designed with these kind of things in mind. So how are you changing some of these older houses to fit those needs?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of people who, with what's been going on, like you mentioned, they're stuck at home with several kids and working from home and, virtual learning, and, things are getting tight. So they're looking to expand, whether going off the back 1 or 2 levels, or going up. So there's a lot of people who have been reaching out, who do want to basically expand on the current footprint of their house, as opposed to maybe looking for like a new construction, or especially with the market being so tough, a lot of them have been looking at expanding their existing property. So
yeah, well, I think one of the things in our market, DC market, that's always been challenging is just like inventory, right? Like people aren't, buyers don't have enough homes. There's usually like 1 or 2 months of inventory max, and anything in that range is like a very, very strong seller's market. And I think a lot of other markets are experiencing this now, tighter inventories. I think one of the things agents can do is partner with a contractor such as yourself that allows them to expand the amount of available options, right? So if a client needs something that's updated, renovated, but it's not in their price range, well, if they've got the right contractor, now they can look at stuff that's cheaper because it's not updated, and maybe get it for a better price because they're putting up with the headache of actually doing it, and they get to choose it, right? Or they could buy something that's too small and then expand the footprint. So can you walk us through a couple different scenarios and typical ways that you might go in, as the agent is like writing a contract and help homeowners get an idea of what they can do and to change the house to meet their needs?
Yeah, definitely. So, pretty much in terms of the process, we'll come out for that initial consultation, go over the homeowner's wants and needs, what they're looking to do, all the details and specifics, and just talk about what's possible, whether it is we are kind of expanding off the back to enlarge a master suite or get a larger family room area, a great room. So we'll come out for that initial consultation, go over all the details and exactly what they're looking to do, and then from there we'll be able to give them a really good idea of what they would be at price-wise to do the renovations. Ultimately, it's tough for us to give an exact price, when one, we don't have the exact design and we don't have structural plans drawn up yet. So that's why we come in and give that initial price range so they have a very good idea. And then from there, once we get to the final design and the structural plans drawn up, we're able to give that exact price. But I know, we've been doing a lot with your agents, giving them an idea of what's possible for homeowners whether they're living there or maybe they're looking to write an offer. And so we're able to give them a very good idea of what the renovations will cost, based on the square footage and whether we're adding bathrooms or the number of bedrooms, that kind of thing. So,
and are most people, the retail clients out there, the buyers, are they surprised because estimates, it costs more to do things or less than what they think? I'm just curious when because the typical buyer probably doesn't know what it costs to add bathrooms and bedrooms and all this.
Yep. I would say more often than not, they're actually surprised at what they can get done for the price. We definitely come in pricing things, very competitive. And more often than not, for sure, they're definitely surprised at what they can do.
Yeah, I think in general, it's an extra step in the process. So if someone else has already gone in, renovated one of these 1940s homes, they're going to be able to capture more value when they go to sell it, because they've already gone through the months of planning and the dust and debris and all that kind of stuff. And if you're moving in and can like line it up so that you start the work before you ever move in, and that may not be possible for some people, but if you already have housing that you can keep some way and until the renovation is done, you can kind of create a lot of value. And maybe you buy the house for $800, you put $200 in it, but now it's worth $1.2, right? And so you're in for $1 million, but you've created like 20% value.
No, 100%.
What's the kind of the time range people should expect for certain jobs? Just maybe one group is probably renovating the existing footprint, like kitchens and baths, and the other is expanding the footprint. What kind of times are you usually seeing on these?
Sure. So, if we're coming in, just say doing a kitchen remodel, kind of updating in place, you're around 4 to 5 weeks. When we start reconfiguring, knocking down walls, then you're probably getting in anywhere from about 6 to 8 weeks. Bathroom remodeling, you're anywhere from about 2 to 4 weeks, depends on if we're just kind of doing a plug in place, updating in place or reconfiguring. For your kind of interior renovations, whole house, so basement, main level, you got the top level, if we're kind of coming in and updating everything top to bottom, so reconfiguring the different levels, kitchens, bathrooms, flooring, painting throughout, those can generally run around 3 months or so, approximately. And then for your larger scale projects of doing the additions and expanding, that can vary quite a bit too, depending on if we're just doing, say, a 1-story off the back or doing a pop top where we're going up a level. But generally those, you're probably looking anywhere from about 4 to 6 months from start to finish.
Does that include the planning and permitting? 'Cause that's going to be another, that's a bigger element when you're talking about adding a level than when just replacing the kitchen, right?
Exactly, yeah. I mean, in terms of planning and permitting, that process can definitely vary quite a bit, like you said, whether it's just doing a kitchen update where we're knocking down some walls versus going up a level. With knocking down walls on a kitchen, usually takes about a week to put together the plans, and then once that design's finalized, usually takes anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks to get approval at the county where we have permits and can start work. For the additions where we're expanding, that takes a little bit more time, especially on the planning portion with all of the drawings. I've found it to, usually take about a month between, usually takes about 2 weeks to get that initial stage of drawings, and then there's another couple weeks of back and forth with making adjustments before we're ready to submit. And so that's about a month, and then best case scenario, you are looking probably about a month for approval, but it can take longer as well. So.
And what are some of the things that agents need to be aware of when they're taking their clients out to see homes that might need work, and they're just having these conversations just so the clients can have the information to be able to decide if they're going to make an offer and that kind of stuff? Like, what are just some typical things you think agents need to be aware of when they're having these types of conversations with their clients?
So definitely, trying to figure out what their budget is for sure. Also time frame. Like you said, in an ideal situation, it is, they purchased the house but can be staying somewhere else where we come in and renovate. So, time frame as well for if they have some time some flexibility to be able to do that. Also, if they're looking to expand, how many square feet are they looking to add? And then in terms of reconfiguration, just trying to see what they're looking to do from, knocking down walls or reconfiguring throughout the main level.
Yeah, I think, those are all good points. Like you have to, know the budget, know their timing, know their options with where they can stay, after they close, but maybe before the house is ready. And, the more questions you ask and the more tools you have, like resources, like people like you to draw on, the more options you're going to be able to present them to get them to the right solution, which is, ultimately what you want as an agent. So I think everybody who, every buyer's agent out there and seller's agent for that matter needs to know a good network of contractors and people like you. I think it's important. We got to wrap up now, though, but before we do, we always do a hyperfast round if you're ready for some rapid fire questions and answers.
Sounds good.
All right, I usually ask, what's your biggest piece of advice to a new agent, but I'll switch it up for you. What's your biggest piece of advice to a new entrepreneur? Because you're in that entrepreneur field as well.
Biggest advice for a new entrepreneur. I think, I think number one, takes a lot of hard work. You're grinding, but try to think on another level in terms of not necessarily harder, but smarter. So how you can be more efficient with your time, how you can systemize things. So that's probably what I would say would be my number one.
All right. What's the biggest mistake you see real estate agents make?
Biggest mistake? I would say maybe in terms of the renovations, maybe not giving realistic, not only from a budget standpoint in terms of pricing, but also timing for how long it'll take the duration to complete some projects.
Yeah, that's definitely a good one. Are you a real estate investor?
I am not.
Just helping other people do it. That's fine. If you're not renovating homes, doing projects, where would we find you? What would you be doing?
So I would be, most likely hanging out with my family, my wife. I have 3 beautiful children as well. Got twins that are 5, and my youngest is 3, so 3 girls. So I'd be usually hanging out with them. They keep me pretty busy.
All right, and where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I would say continuing on the path we are with Design Pro, continuing to grow, take that to the next level, and also investing in real estate as well.
All right, well, thanks for being on the show. Before we sign off, if people want to get in touch with you, follow up, have questions, what's the best way for them to connect with you on social media or whatever your preferred choices?
Sure. Yeah, we have our Facebook page, Design Pro Remodeling, which you can easily find us. Same thing on Instagram at Design Pro Remodeling, also. I'm on there as well with email, cell phone, so certainly open for anyone who wants to reach out in terms of any questions, projects, renovations. So.
All right, so check them out on Facebook. Thanks for being on the show, Steve, and thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Hyperfast Show. Subscribe to us if you want to make sure you get the latest and greatest Hyperfast shows. And remember, we love reviews. Reviews help us bring better and better guests and improve our shows. So give us the good, the bad, and the ugly. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you next time.
Hey guys, thanks for sticking around to the end. I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you want to see more, click right here. And if you're new to this channel, click below to subscribe and turn on post notifications so you don't miss out. And leave some comments about what you think on the videos. I'll see you next time.